Tony and Tim show is back, and of course it's time to talk about what happened on the weekend. I'm Tony.
And I'm Tim.
Welcome back from that very interesting weekend that we capped off on Sunday with a lot of interesting talking points across the board.
Yeah.
With a big game in the Premier League, of course, Manchester United taking on Liverpool at Old Trafford. That game ending 0-0. We didn't expect a game without goals, but certainly we expected a hotly contested fight.
Yeah, we expected a hotly contested fight, but it ended stalemate 0-0 there. Not the best of results either team wanted, but at the end of the day, I think every team would have appreciated the point because it looked so boring, Tony. I did not love the intensity of the game. Liverpool didn't bring in anything. Man United looked off, of course, with all the injuries they got, but it didn't live to the billing that we expected now.
This is what two teams suddenly, one in form, in Manchester United.
Yep.
They've been very, very interesting going forward.
Yep.
And of course, we know how Liverpool's front three can do on the day. And then we also had two very brilliant goalkeepers on display in this one. So we expected to see some kind of action.
Yeah.
But in terms of the what happened, especially in the first half, like you said, we got a couple of injuries there from both teams. So it became a bit interesting. There was lack of energy going forward. There was a bit of lack of creativity across the board. And so the game ended 0-0, meaning that now Manchester United picked up only a point. And that takes them to 52 points in 5th place, just behind Arsenal, who had won their game at that particular time. Liverpool also went back into first position after that particular game because Manchester City had already played a game ahead and now they are on level and they are level on games. But for Manchester United, they brought out a side that included some players that were struggling with injury.
Yeah, I mean that is the talking point of it all, Tony. But I don't know what's happening at the training of Man United. Going into this game, it was a shocker that Matic was not going to be present, and that had to change the dynamic and the mentality of the players. You would not expect Pogba to be free-flowing up front, knowing that McTominay is the one defending this time. So the players had to be cautious. I thought that injury to Matic was not planned for. But Herrera, Tony, spending about 20-25 minutes there, he got injured. Then Mata followed the injury. Then that substitution, I don't know from your perspective whether it was right to bring in Lingard or you should have waited a bit longer.
No, we had talked about Lingard's supposed
earlier return,
and also thinking that he had to pass a late fitness test. The coach had talked about him on Friday, saying that he needs to assess him just before the game to see how much. But you could see him struggling from the start. I felt that he could have brought in Alexis Sanchez, a player who's fully fit and who is willing to go. He hasn't had the best of form, but this is the kind of game where if you give him enough minutes and you show him you trust him,
and I thought he did well.
He might be able to do something there. I didn't understand why the coach had to bring on Lingard, a player that's already we had known that wasn't fully fit. When a player is not fully fit, the best thing is to bring him on in the last couple of minutes, maybe last 15 minutes, for him to try and pick up the pace. It wasn't to be, of course, and then they got an injury for Rashford. They had no option to replace him.
Yeah, he actually was the first to get injured. Then the other subsequent injuries came in, so they looked at who is likely to stay longer, and it was Rashford, unfortunately, who had to stay. But I thought
play through the pain.
But I thought going through this game, having made all the substitutes in the first half, great credit to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for having held on to the game. And United, surprisingly, Tony, had the better chances against Liverpool. Salah was kept quiet. Mane almost was not seen. Of course, we also know Firmino got injured for Liverpool in the first half.
Which kind of changes
that? It changes the dynamic. I think Firmino is critical in that Liverpool team, and we saw when he got injured, Sturridge could not match up to what he brings to the table. But at the end of the day, it's not a game we all wish to have watched now.
Very interesting, and of course, for Manchester United fans, after seeing those injuries in the first half, they might be feeling more positive than the Liverpool fans, because Liverpool, even without Firmino, they really needed to have pushed up. They were pushed Manchester United. The midfield was poor. For you to be playing against Andreas Pereira and Scott McTominay, you should be feeling that Wijnaldum, Henderson, and
should express themselves more.
They should be able to push these boys, but they didn't show much.
No, they didn't.
I feel Liverpool is the person that might be had done in this game. They had the incentive with Manchester United getting all those injuries. They really should have pushed, but they bossed the game. They bossed the possession.
Yep, they did.
The ball. They got 65% of the possession, with Manchester United getting only 35. And of course, now they have 2 goalless draws in a row. Liverpool, they played Bayern in midweek, got that 0-0 draw, and now Manchester United. So it shows you how things are changing up front for them, and Klopp must find a way of pushing his boys to try and get those goals. Of course, they have a midweek trip, a midweek game at home, against Watford. In a game that they must try and look for those scoring boots. Watford had a big win on the weekend. They beat Cardiff 5-1. So that's a team that might be able to test Liverpool if they fail to go up front well. Yeah,
Liverpool will be tested a lot. I mean, they're on top of the table, but I don't think they would have loved to be on top with only 1 point over Man City. And Watford, you've said it, they scored 5 goals against Cardiff. That's not a small number. And I believe they have the quality to test this Liverpool side. So Klopp has to sit back his team, and we need to know how long is Firmino out of this team. They didn't take without him. Salah needs to come back on form. With all due respect to the goals he's got this term, I don't think he's firing the way we expect. Not Tony.
He has 17 goals. He's topping the charts. That's
why I say Tony is firing, but it's not helping. Man City has a lot of scorers. They have goals everywhere. Liverpool looks at Salah to get about 20 goals. So it's worrying times for Liverpool.
Big problems there for Jurgen Klopp, and of course, like we said, Manchester United are now in 4th place, with Liverpool reclaiming top spot on 66 points, just 1 point ahead of Manchester City, who, remember, did not take part this weekend because they had a final in the Carabao Cup, which they won on penalties against Chelsea. We'll be talking more about the rest of the results after the break. Give it tonight. Hey, I see a fine face in it.